Hello again. So I was thinking I wanted to make a second video, but I have no idea what I want to make. So I decided on manga review. It might be a pretty basic topic. However, I wanted to start off my channel with something simple since, I don't know how to edit or anything, and I don't really have a plan for making videos yet, so I don't know how to come up with ideas either. So I'm just going to start with simple stuff. Anyways, I decided on a specific manga that is barely known because I thought, why review Berserk? It's one of the most popular manga. I also only have the first 6 volumes. Why review One Piece? I haven't even read it. Why review Tokyo Ghoul? It's become so popular and has existed for so long. And why review Blue Lock? Because the anime just came out, so that doesn't matter. So I thought about, why not review a one-shot that I'm sure none of you have ever heard of, and that would be The Kingdom of the Gods. This is actually a manhwa, and I'm just not going to read the names because I'm going to sound if I try. It's a really good manhwa, and I'm going to dive into why I think it's really good, or actually really good. I don't know if I would say really good. It's a pretty solid manga. It doesn't really stand out, but it's definitely something that I'd say is worth the read. It comes out to only being $15 US. Now, I bought this I think 2 years ago before Viz increased their prices. So if you were to buy it now, maybe it might be like $17. Alright, so what is Kingdom of the Gods, you ask? I already mentioned it's a manhwa, but it's a one-shot. Technically it's a one-shot. It only comes in this single volume. However, it is actually a double story, or I guess would be better to say there is a story called The Kingdom of the Gods in this, and then there's also a story called Burning Hell. And I guess I'll dive into what each of these are and maybe show a couple panels. I don't really feel like editing, like maybe I'll edit pictures of the panels rather than just flip through the pages, because I don't want to spoil too much if I do end up selling you on this and you decide maybe you do want to read it. Alright, so Kingdom of the Gods. It's only 4 chapters, as you can see. I think this entire thing is only 288 pages or something. So, this is a one-shot you can read in like an hour, easily. Because a lot of these pictures, as you can see, very little text, a lot of just cool art. Kingdom of the Gods almost reminds me of like a bit more of a rigid vagabond art style. Maybe not in the characters, but a lot of this, like, you see the attention to detail with the grass and stuff and the character. But anyways, so Kingdom of the Gods actually is a story about a bandit named Jeha. I think I just showed you a picture of Jeha, Kingdom of the Gods. Jeha, this guy. And then Prince Young Yi Moon, or his name isn't Young Yi Moon, but he's a young kid, so I just... Yi Moon, he's crown prince of the country. Now, what country, you ask me? I have no idea. So the setting, it takes place in this country, whatever it is, and Young Hee is supposedly on a mission somewhere. I want to leave it a bit loose, because if you do want to end up reading it, then I don't want to like tell you the entire plot. That's kind of lame. I will say, a lot of stuff happens in such a short amount of time. The genre of this is like a political action zombie. There's, I guess I'd describe it as 3 groups of people. The first group would obviously be Jeha and Prince Yi Moon. And then you have the Shadow Soldiers. So the reason why I was talking about a political action is because these Shadow Soldiers are sent to kill Yi Moon, and that's why his bodyguards were killed, and he's getting paid to protect him to Jiul Hyun. It's a political in the sense that Yi Moon's dad is the king of this said country, and there's political warfare. So you have these shadow soldiers. I don't exactly know what pages there are, but these shadow soldiers are pretty interesting. They're like ninjas. They retreat, but instead of running away, they just kind of like sink into the ground, into their shadows. You know, I don't know, but it's cool. Now, you can see, she looks a bit weird, doesn't she? Well, when I mentioned zombie, it's because the third group is something called the Living Death. Now, what the Living Death is, they're zombies. I don't really know how else to say it. But these people starve, and in that kind of starvation phase where they're desperate for food, they decide to eat the flesh of other dead humans. As you can see, chomp, chomp, chomp. Anyways, they end up dying because of the starvation, but despite them dying, they had eaten human flesh, which for some reason causes a disease called the Living Death, which turns them into zombies. So basically, this entire story is Yi Moon and Jaeha not only running from the Shadow Warriors and stuff, but running from this massive outbreak of zombies. So if that's for you, it's for you. It's a pretty cool plot. The way it ends, I'm not going to show you. The way it ends, it leaves the story very open. It ends on a point where the characters kind of just realize what's going on, and thus begin the new adventure to go stop it. They don't actually solve the problem by the end of the story. So if you don't like a definitive ending, I wouldn't read this one or the first story, because as I mentioned, there's another story, and that's what I'm going to go into in just a second. But I wouldn't read the first story if you don't like definitive endings, because it just ends with realization. Anyways, Burning Hell, second story, or I guess as this book calls it in a bonus story, is Burning Hell, which only also has 4 chapters, but this one is compiled into like just a tiny bit over 100 pages, so this is something you sweep through in like 20-30 minutes. I read this book before, but because I was thinking of video ideas, and I decided that maybe I want to review something a bit obscure that I have on my shelf, because I don't have that much. A lot of the stuff I have on my shelf is pretty popular, honestly, but this is not popular at all. In fact, I looked at the My Anime list, and there was roughly 3,000 users in this entire, the entry to this series, or not series, stories. So Burning Hell takes place on a secluded island called Kyokudo, which, what it means, the extreme island. But Kyokudo is a place where extreme prisoners are exiled to rather than executed. Now, why it exists instead of execution, who knows? Maybe it's just a safer way to get rid of these people, because these criminals are so dangerous that trying to execute them would probably just leave you dead. But it's a place used by Japan and Korea. So Korean and Japanese criminals get thrown here. So the way the story starts is you're introduced to this guy. His name is Ju. He's a Japanese serial killer. He eats everyone he kills and sucks the bone marrow out of their bones, which is pretty disgusting. You don't actually really see that happening, though you do see him kill people, of course. I'll show a panel. Here you go. Him just kind of slicing a dude in half. Of course, it's pretty action-oriented and a bit over the top, but so are a lot of other things. Now, you could just see this art style. It's really great. It's kind of what you would expect from an action one-shot. The next character that you meet is this guy, Han. He's a Korean serial killer. Now, these two characters, they're both crazy in their own right, of course. They're both extremely strong, so they're the only people that are left on this island because they've killed every other person. Basically, they honestly become soulmates of fighting. They fight supposedly for years and years. They don't actually understand each other at the start, of course, because he only speaks Korean, he only speaks Japanese. But they end up fighting for so long, as you can see, that they eventually end up understanding each other. Then you get close to the end, and pirates come to the island for some reason. And this is where I think the story kind of takes a weird turn that I'm not personally the biggest fan of. But these are just some random pirates, and I'm pretty sure the main pirate's name is Captain McMahon, and he's apparently a British pirate. Now, how that makes sense and why they're in the middle of Korea and Japan, I don't know. What I think is the weirdest thing is that these pirates have something called LOA, which is apparently a type of like spirit or something that if you sacrifice someone to the spirit, it'll grant you powers. And this is what I don't like about Burning Hell, that it just randomly introduces a supernatural element to it at the end of the book. They save some prisoner that was on the boat, the pirate boat, and it was a young girl, but you know who it is doesn't really matter. The very last scene is them fighting over who gets to kill her in their own way, you know, fighting as they want. But that is how it ends, and that is the Kingdom of the Gods and Burning Hell. Now, would I say it is the greatest one-shot I've ever read? No, I wouldn't even say that. I'd honestly say the greatest one-shot I've ever read is All You Need Is Kill. All You Need Is Kill is great, but this isn't a video for All You Need Is Kill. This is a video for Kingdom of the Gods. Now, would I say it's worth reading? Yeah, I'd say it's worth reading. If you like action stuff, it's perfect. What I'd recommend, you know, comparatively, I'd say if you're a fan of the sword fighting aspect and you like Vagabond, give it a chance. It isn't even remotely as good as Vagabond. You know, Vagabond, if it's here, Kingdom of the Gods is obviously here, but, you know, that's a really big tower to climb. Same as Berserk, because of the gory elements. You like gore, read it. I bought this in a comic book shop a couple years ago with the idea that this had something to do with the Kingdom franchise. It didn't, obviously. Kingdom isn't printed in English. Would I buy it again? No. I know this is a review and me trying to sell it to you, but would I buy it again? I don't think it's, you know, worth buying. So if you could find it to read online, I'd 100% recommend it, because again, I definitely recommend reading it, but you know, if you have extra money, buy it. Definitely buy it. I mean, it's only $15. I've seen it in used bookstores for like $6, $7. But yeah, I'd say buy it if you had extra money, but otherwise read it online. And that's basically it. I don't really know how else to end a video, so I just say thank you for watching, and for those of you who do make it to the end of the video, please do give me advice, or let me know in the comments what type of videos you'd want to see. If you have any suggestions on videos to make, I'd love to hear them, and I'd love to try something out. So, that's it. Bye.